Hi, I'm Dr. Papa, creator of the TRUE CELLULAR DETOX program. If you are watching this video, then there is no doubt you either have a sleep issue, anxiety issue, or perhaps both, because oftentimes they do go together. Look, I know that the information that I'm going to give you here in the next 5 minutes potentially could change your world. I myself had major sleep and anxiety disorder, and I'll tell you, it is miserable. There was nights where I was not able to fall asleep, and some nights I was able to fall asleep and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to get back to sleep. And what really made it worse is this anxiety that would come and go, and oftentimes at night. But one way or another, either of these things is horrible. And like me or like you, I'm sure you have tried everything. Some things, sometimes it works for a while and then stops working, right? It's maddening. But look, there is a solution. But I believe this, and I think you do too, at least at this point, that if we don't remove the actual cause, then really there's no permanent solution, right? Look, I have a permanent solution for you, and it's what ultimately fixed me. I mean, I tried it all, right? We do the 5-HTP, the melatonin, maybe you've done some meds, I didn't go there, but the point is it's for what? Unless we get upstream, remove that interference, the body can actually do the healing. Look, I want to show you what's going on because I believe this. If I show you that toxins are actually the problem and how True Cellular Detox really is the answer, then I believe that you'll go, I get it. And then I believe you'll take good action. And ultimately, that's what changed my world, and I think it's going to change yours. So I'm going to come back here to this board, and I'm going to draw a cell. I have the art of somehow drawing perfect circles. I don't know how that is, but that is a perfect circle, at least from my angle, maybe not from yours. But look, that's going to represent your cell. And I promise you, I'm not going to overload you with some biochemistry here, but I think you'll get this and say, yes, that sounds absolutely different. And that sounds like why all these things aren't working and I still have my problem. You know, and ultimately, hormones is really how we sleep. These chemicals that flow through our body is how we feel good. It's how we get a good night's sleep. It's how we downregulate the stress reaction and are not left with that nasty anxiety. So this is your cell, and I want to make a point here because every hormone in your body has to attach to these cell membranes, okay? So I'm just going to put an H for general hormone. I mean, I could put a C for cortisol. I mean, I can go on and on from estrogen to testosterone. But if we just deal with hormone, brain chemicals, messengers that have to attach to the cell. By the way, even vitamins and minerals that we eat have to attach to these receptors on our cell membrane. What does that have to do with toxins? Because here's why. Toxins come in to your body and they make their way to fat. Well, guess what? Your cells in these membranes are fat. So the toxins come in, they end up attaching themselves to these cell membranes, and they drive something called inflammation. And you're going to hear me talk a lot about this because I know you're going to say, I need this program, the True Cellular Detox program. And I talk a lot about inflammation. And I think we've all heard that inflammation is the cause of many things. I mean, even cancer studies are showing, diabetes, thyroid, every hormone problem. Even why people can't lose weight, hormones, or inflammation is a part of that. But let me be more specific. It's cellular inflammation. And it's inflammation of this membrane that blocks the hormones. So one of the things I always say is taking more hormones can help in the short term, but the problem is this. Taking more hormones, really, it doesn't get their message anymore in the cell, especially long term. And you're going to hear me use this example many times. It's like shouting at our children, if you have children. It works in the beginning, but then we find ourselves having to shout louder and louder, like taking more and more hormones to feel good. And our kids are listening what? Less or more? Less, of course they are. Or it's like trying to dump gasoline on a car, not getting it in the engine. Those are for you who don't have kids. I hope that helps. But the point is the answer isn't more of these things that perhaps make us sleep better. Even melatonin has to attach to a receptor and get its message in the cell, and then we can sleep better. So I don't care what hormone, there's many involved in sleep and anxiety. I don't care what nutrient, there's many. But the point is if we don't remove the cause, and that's kind of how we started this conversation, in this case toxins, then we're not going to permanently solve this problem. Okay, so toxins affect inflammation. Inflammation blocks the hormones from getting their message in the cell so we feel normal. Bottom line, but I'm going to talk about one more thing. So in this program, there are, and I do want to talk to you a little bit about what this program is, because you're going to have that question. In this program, one of the things that I always say is that true detox has to happen here at the cell. I think you're probably familiar with many different types of cleanses out there, right? Colon cleanses, liver cleanses, this 10-day cleanse, juice cleanses. We have so many today, it's in vogue. However, if we don't detox the cell, we're not going to get well. That's how I got my life back. If we don't fix the cell, we're never going to get well. So it ultimately does start here at the cell. Once we get, and that's what this program does, one of the components of what true cellular detox is getting the cell to do what it does naturally. Detox is part of that. Once we get that, now the toxins start moving out of the body. Now, I'm sure many of you know this, but our liver plays an important role. That does not look like a very good liver. Bear with me, my art is not as good as my science. And I'm going to draw kidneys that probably more resemble bananas than they do kidneys. However, the liver, the kidneys, and maybe I should even write that in there. And then I'm going to draw one more thing. No, that's not a snake. That is your intestines, your gut, your digestive system. How's that? Toxins end up making their way to these detox pathways. Right? And part of what true cellular detox is keeping these pathways open. But I draw this for a reason, because I think a lot of you have heard of colon cleanses, right? Down here. I think they're good. They keep this moving. That's important, to keep toxins moving out, okay? What about a liver cleanse, a coffee enema, far infrared saunas? If I drew the skin over here, these are pathways. But see, none of it is here, the cell. This is what true detox is, true cellular detox. This is why people don't feel well. This is why you don't feel well. This is why you take things, and they work for a while, but they don't, because ultimately this is the problem. Toxins are bombarding this cell, and it's causing an epidemic of different diseases and symptoms with really unexplainable symptoms, I should say. So the cell is the key, but when we start upregulating cell function, it starts to move out here and out of these pathways when it's done right, okay? But this is where the magic is. We fix the cell, we detox the cell, we get well. Okay, I want to draw one more point, and I said that. Now I'm going to attempt to draw a person. Actually, that's pretty good. Those aren't legs. I was drawing okay, so now I got to finish it because I look like the head had legs. We're not going to do that. I'll put an eye, I'll put a mouth, but here's really the important part right here. I hope you can see that from there, that that's a brain. But look, when we're dealing with hormone problems, and especially sleep, there's a part of the brain, one is called the pineal gland, that sits right outside that blood-brain barrier. Heavy metals and certain toxins get into that, and it affects our sleep. They also get into the center brain, which is, there's a place called the pituitary and the hypothalamus. All you have to know is this. That's the place that controls your thyroid, your adrenals, which control cortisol and anxiety. So yeah, it plays a role even in sleep, because a lot of the reason why we wake up in the middle of the night is because our cortisol rises, and then that gives us this adrenaline spike, and we wake up. And we oftentimes feel normal in the middle of the night, but the rest of the day you feel dead. Well, a lot of that has to do with this pituitary gland. Here's why it's important. Studies show that this is where toxins like heavy metals bioaccumulate, stockpile. If you don't get it out of there, you will never fix your anxiety or your sleep problem. And that's really the point I want to make. And that's ultimately how I fix this problem permanently. I sleep like a baby now. The anxiety doesn't exist, but it was getting it out of there. There's 3 phases to true cellular detox. There is, and by the way, we bring it out of the brain, and then it's all the way out of the body in this program. 3 phases. There's a prep phase. You're going to learn more about this. There's a body phase, and there's a brain phase. But if you truly want to solve your problem, the key is getting to these cells right there. Look, I know it works. I experienced it myself, and so have thousands of others. So you need to go to your practitioner who you got this video from and say, I want true cellular detox. Look, You may want to even start, and he's going to suggest this, and you're going to say, yes, I need that. There's a couple tests that are very important. One, there's a test that actually shows cellular inflammation. Good place to start. There's also a test that shows how toxic you are. Another good place to start. So demand these tests from this practitioner, but ultimately, this is what you need. I hope it helps. No, matter of fact, I know it's going to help. So go get it.